First, there is some breaking news from the WTA, and this came out today. Coaching from the stands will be allowed this season in the WTA. The trial will begin at the Dubai Duty Free Championships at the end of February and the Hungarian Open, and continue WTA Premier and international events for the remainder of the calendar year. Initial reactions from the both of you. Why don't we start with Coach?
Of course, I'm very happy with that decision. I'm trying my best to push both ATP and WTA to legalize coaching during the matches for many reasons. First, because I think it's great for the show. It's great for the fans to see interactions between the players and the coaches. Also, it's going to help everyone understand the game better. I think it's great for the coaches because, I mean, that's our job to coach, and it's so frustrating not to be able to officially. Also, because I think it's a bit hypocrite, the situation. It was because all the coaches are coaching during the matches all year long, and all the professionals in tennis know that. It's like, you know, you're not allowed to pass when the traffic light is red, but imagine everyone does it and the police is there and says nothing for years. It becomes the rule, and that's the rule, but it's not legal, so it's frustrating. So I think it's a great decision for many reasons, and most of all, because it's great for the show, seeing interactions and understanding the game better.
Patrick pulled the curtain back on coaching loud and clear 16 months ago at the U.S. Open. Of course, you were involved when Serena was penalized, called for you for coaching in the box. Whether she saw it or not didn't matter. The chair umpire said you made hand signals telling her to move in or do something. But after this, it started the discussion because you said everybody does it. This is a well-known secret throughout tennis. And then it, you know, transparency is key in sport, Brad.
I couldn't agree with you more about the transparency. I mean, since 40 years, let's say I was playing a Spanish guy or a French guy, and their coach was carrying on in a language maybe the umpire couldn't understand, and then sometimes umpire would let it go. Maybe I like this player, I'm okay. So basically, it's making something obvious that's happened. Creative third base coaching now is legal. What I'm totally bummed about, why is the WTA always in front of the ATP doing it first? You know, and I'm really happy to see it. But I can tell you, though, one thing that will be an interesting dynamic. I saw a player the other night where he was getting some coaching from the stands and then get quite annoyed with his camp. So all of a sudden, you know, if you're overdoing it, you have to be careful. But I do like the fact, I hate that the supervisor is supposed to be sitting courtside or the umpire. In the case where the umpire is calling the U.S. Open final, you're telling me he's supposed to concentrate on the lines, look at Patrick, look at the umpire, and be able to see everything. It's comical. I understand that we're going to do this now, and all the WTA events with the coaching from the stands and the coaching on court. Now we get to slams.
Coaching will not be allowed in slams.
And coaching will not be allowed. So all of a sudden, listen, I'm hopeful for it, but let's say it doesn't happen. I actually feel like then you become dependent, you know, upon motivation, upon the coaching. Now all of a sudden you get in a problem situation in the second round, third round, that maybe you got a little bit of help from your coach, which rightfully so is legal. Now it maybe's not, so all of a sudden the player can get in that situation like, you know, the brain is locked, that like, what is happening here? Normally I can lean on my coach, I can't. So I hope for this sake that we start to incorporate it in slams. I'm just a little worried. At a couple of them, it's going to take some time. I think the U.S. Open and the Aussie will definitely be doing it within 2 years.
Well, the U.S. Open already has the trial coaching
in the qualies,
going through in qualies, where the player can talk to their coach from on court. So we'll see where that leads us. Baby steps, though, Brad. This is tennis.
Do you want to see it in slams?
Oh, for sure. The U.S. Open is doing it in the qualies, is doing it for the juniors. Same here. So we're on the way.
Today, Darren Cahill, our colleague against Simona Halep's coach once again this year, addressed coaching. And then you'll be pleased. Take a listen after Darren. It's Novak Djokovic talking about it.
I'm big on tradition. I'm old, so I love the whole tradition of tennis and the one-on-one and problem solving and what you're trying to do. But I think we're evolving as a sport, We can see the 10-point tiebreaker here at 6-all. Who would have thought 20 years ago we'd be playing a 10-point tiebreak? But I think it's one of the greatest things we've seen here at the Australian Open. And these 10-point tiebreaks, that building of the suspense and the pressure. And I released a little video a couple of nights ago about my two kids when they were watching Kyrgios, and they were jumping up and down like idiots for the last 10 minutes. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And that's what tennis is, to bring that young generation into the game and to have fun. And coaching is a part of that as well. Grand Slams, put that aside. We have the 4 Grand Slams, that's fine. But for the ATP and the WTA, we need to evolve. And I think bringing coaching into those events is important. I know the WTA wants to do it, and they want to do it the right way. And that's why Steve Simon is bringing this trial in. I think they can go further and do it more. Even today, if I was allowed to coach today, you'll be surprised how little coaching the coaches will do if they're allowed to do it. The reason why probably a lot of it goes on at the moment is because you're not allowed to do it, so you're trying to get the sneaky coaching message across. But if you were allowed to do it, it's a simple one line, hey Simona, hold your line. Okay, that's coaching. But it's not over-the-top coaching. That would have been my message to her today, because she was falling back a little bit. So it's something really simple that can make a big difference to the players. We're trying to make the players better. We're trying to make the sport better. We're trying to make the coaches better.
Coaching is inevitable, to be honest. I mean, I understand there are players that are saying, well, it's an individual sport, and traditionally it has been this way, where you just have to figure out yourself strategy, what do you want to do, how to get out of trouble. I understand that. And I'm in favor of that. But on the other hand, I feel like coaching anyway happens, and there's a lot of times that the chair umpire or supervisor that tolerates certain things, and there's different signs, there are different languages and dialects that coaches use with their players, and that's completely fine. And it happens all the time. So why not? Yep. Have it officially there, implemented on the tour in some shape or form. It doesn't need to be, I mean, the women's tour, the WTA has been trying with coaches coming in the changeovers. Obviously it's never going to be ideal. I mean, when you're making a big significant change like that after 100+ years of traditional tennis and the way it has been, it's always going to receive a lot of criticism, I think, but you got to disrupt the market, the world, and the tour, the sport, and I'm all for innovation.
I totally agree with him. The subtlety of saying, stop down the line, the person serving wide. It's also going to put a lot more pressure on the coach, because if he gives the information wrong and it doesn't go well, I'll give you one time, 2003, I'm coaching Andy Roddick. I tell him he's playing a French guy, Cyril Saulnier. I had watched him play before. He can't hit a backhand down the line to save his life. Backhand cross every time. In the first set, guy hits like 15 backhand down the line winners. And then he finally screams at me. Then I said, you know what? I was wrong. Just cover down the line. So it's just the subtlety and the little things. But just because it is legal now, I promise you, I think it actually puts more pressure on the coach that he's actually helping him with the information.
One thing you'll do differently? How will this affect you coaching anyway?
I'm not sure I understood your question.
Will you coach more now from the stands? Will you coach?
Of course.
So
of course.
Because you don't come on the court much, but you will feel more obliged to coach more now.
I would definitely when I feel that my player needs it, for sure.
Totally. I mean, why wouldn't you do it?
I look forward to this. It's going to be a good show out of you and Serena.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.